All right, we made it to the final race of the 2023 season. We got the Cup race here at Phoenix for the Championship 4. We're going to crown a Cup champion tonight. But real quickly, just wanted to say thank you guys, as always, for continuing to help this channel grow. I think this is our third year now doing this. So appreciate all the likes, comments, shares, retweets. Gaining more subscribers every year. Twitter account continues to grow. I'll probably make a separate video on it, but if we've helped you in any way this year, I can link PayPal and Venmo. We're not expecting tips by any means, but it's completely free. We just do this for fun. But if you guys want to support us, throw a couple of dollars our way just to say thanks, or maybe we helped you have a good year. We always appreciate that too. So let's get into it. We got the Championship 4 race here at Phoenix. It's going to come down to Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Christopher Bell. So one of them is going to be your Cup champ. You just have to figure out who that is going to be. But for DFS purposes, let's look at the slate, try to figure out how we want to construct our lineup. So like they did with the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, all of your playoff drivers, and I'll highlight them here in blue, are the most expensive, which usually what we see at the championship race is the playoff drivers usually win the race. Not always, but usually they do. Usually they're running out front. Usually they are your lap leaders. They're there at the end. So I probably want at least one, if not maybe two, maybe even potentially three of these drivers in every single one of your lines. So that's where I would start. Trying to differentiate between them is going to be difficult. Kyle Larson does have the best driver rating of the four. His driver rating is only second behind Denny Hamlin if you look at the short flat tracks that we've been on this year. But he's finished in the top 6 5 out of 6 times on short tracks this year. So that's really encouraging. He was the slowest in practice of the four, which is not encouraging, but he was able to turn around for qualifying, had some good track position. We know how good Cliff Daniels and Larson are together. They should be able to work on this car. So I like Larson a lot today. I think he can be a lap leader. I think he can get fast laps. He has a great chance of being your champion. Ryan Blaney, on the other hand, gives you the most place differential upside of the championship drivers. He also had the best long run car in practice, which is really encouraging to see. So he might not give you that early lap leading upside, but maybe you pair him with a Larson or Blaney or Byron, for example, to try to play that narrative out in your head. Hey, I think Byron's going to lead early, and then I think Blaney might potentially take over late. He's coming off a win at Martinsville, which is obviously a short track. Finished second at Phoenix in the spring earlier this year. So Blaney has a good chance too. Honestly, any of these drivers have a good chance. William Byron has the pole. He has the track position. But the cool thing about William Byron is he has pit stall selection. So he has the best pit stall for the race. Great chance to lead the early part of this race, stay out front especially with how fast the team is on pit road. His practice times are also really good, top 3, top 4 across all the different metrics that we're looking at. And then you got Christopher Bell. So, kind of like Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell also gives you some place differential upside. He had the fastest 5-lap and 10-lap average, and was only second in the 15 to Blaney. So very similar. All of these guys have fast cars. So for me, I want to target any combination of these four, whether it's Blaney and Bell together, or Larson and Bell, or Blaney and Byron. Like, those are the types of lines that I'm going to construct today. At least one, if not two, maybe even a few lineups with 3, stars and studs type of approach. So with that being said, there's still other players in the race. There's still other players that can score well. There's still other players that can lead laps. There's still other drivers that can win this race too. So he also got Hamlin and Truex up there. So Hamlin starts 6th. He was slow in practice, was able to turn around for qualifying. He's run really well on the short tracks, has a lot of momentum, barely missed out on the playoffs or the championship 4, had that mechanical failure, which kind of set him back. But his ownership probably is going to be lower than all the drivers above him. So I don't mind him, if you're just building a one playoff driver type of lineup, maybe you go William Byron, and then instead of going to Larson, maybe pivot to Hamlin. And I don't hate those types of approaches either, but my ownership to Hamlin is going to be a decent amount less than the playoff drivers there. Truex starts second. He could be a contrarian lap leader. Everyone's going to plug in Byron as an early lap leader. Throw a couple lines in there of maybe Truex is your early lap leader. You never know. Truex wasn't great in practice. Neither was Hamlin, but both of them were able to turn around. He has good track position. The concern with Truex is just how poor this team has run in the playoffs. Just really, really poor finishes. I'm sure they're looking forward to just, ending this year and trying to get to next year. I like Logano. He's finished in the top 5 in 4 of 6 of the short track races, and in the top 11 every single time. So he gives you a lot of place differential upside. He's a little bit cheaper than a Blaney or Bell. I don't think he has the same lap leading upside that Blaney or Bell has, but I really like the place differential upside and finishing potential upside that Joey Logano offers. Kevin Harvick, it's last race. This is the last time we're going to see him behind the wheel. Starts third. If there's any chance that he could potentially win, the short tracks are probably going to be his best bet. Great car, starting third. He's probably going to be difficult to get to in DFS, but again, maybe like Truex, maybe he's a contrarian lap leader. Most likely he's going to run inside the top 10 for most of the day. It just kind of comes down to, where he finishes, if he's able to get out front, lead you some laps, how many fast laps he can pick up. It's kind of expensive for a driver starting third that may or may not get to the front of the field, but he's there. He has the potential, so I'm still going to sprinkle him into some lines. Pretty cool that 23-11, both Reddick and Bubba Wallace are doing those Star Wars schemes. Hopefully they make some die-casts out of those, because I would easily pick them up. But Tyler Reddick probably runs around where he starts. You can sprinkle him into 150 max, maybe if you're building multiple lines. I think he runs around 10th, 12th most of the day. If the race gets crazy, maybe you can take advantage of it. Now, Keselowski does have to go to the rear of the field. He did not qualify the car, but that doesn't really matter to me because he starts 31st. So it won't take him very long to get back up to 31st, and obviously much higher, hopefully, throughout the race. So he was really fast in practice, offers a lot of place differential upside. Just keep an eye on Twitter. I know I haven't really looked too much since yesterday, but I know his wife was getting ready to go in labor, and they're expecting their next child. So there's a chance that he does not race. But as of right now, all signs are pointing to Brad Keselowski getting behind the wheel. Then you get to the 8K range. Most of these guys are okay. Honestly, I think anyone from the 7K range up, you can make an argument for, and that's why you're going to see a lot of high and medium there. But Kyle Busch has been pretty bad on the short tracks, so that's a concern. The thing that is encouraging is how fast this car was on the short run. The thing that isn't encouraging is how slow this car was on the long run. So if we get short runs, I think Kyle Busch might be able to take advantage, grab some spots. But if we see this race go green, get strung out, I think this team is going to struggle. Luckily, he starts 18th, relatively safe. But I'm not going to be targeting, Kyle Busch by any means. Chase Elliott, on the other hand, had a slow car originally, but as the run went on, his car got faster. So probably could see him contending for top 10. I don't mind him as a place differential upside play. Then I think you could throw a blanket over Chastain, Buescher, and Gibbs. Even Bubba Wallace to a certain extent. Like all 4 of these drivers, I think, are tournament plays. Very similar to kind of Kevin Harvick. Like they have really good track position. Most likely are going to maintain that track position or run around where they're starting. My fear is they don't have the car to get those extra, handful of spots to get out front and get the lead. So a little bit risky, because if they finish like, 15th or 18th or something, there's a chance, they might not work out for you. But the cars are fast. Practice times, validate it. Qualifying times back it up too. And then you got Chase Briscoe down here. Gives you some nice place differential upside. Not the qualifying effort you wanted to see, but like Harvick, Briscoe also ran well on the short tracks this year. And unlike Harvick, Briscoe does give you a good amount of place differential upside. So really like Briscoe. I like Almirola too. I like Briscoe a little bit more, just based off of driver rating and times I saw in practice. But Almirola is, he's coming off a second place finish at Martinsville. Also been good on the short flat tracks, also gives you some place differential upside, and they're relatively cheap. So if you're plugging in these championship drivers, you're going to need some value plays down here. I really like the SHR cars of Briscoe and Almirola. Bowman, I don't mind him just for the price alone. I mean, a Hendrick Motorsports car for $7,100 is pretty rare. The issue is the team is pretty slow in practice, not a great qualifying effort, but it's still a Hendrick Motorsports car at the end of the day. And then the 6K range, I'm not really too interested in the first four. Suarez just has been pretty bad this year. Jones starts a little bit too high. Dillon hasn't been good on the short flat tracks, although his two most recent finishes on the short flat tracks are better. Cindric has just really struggled almost everywhere that we've gone, except for road courses. Even those haven't been great. But Ryan Preece, I don't mind him. I'd rather prefer Briscoe and Almirola if you can get to his teammates. Preece is obviously a lot cheaper. The issue is Preece doesn't give you the same place differential upside that Briscoe and Almirola does. Allmendinger, I'm probably going to go under the field on Allmendinger. I think he's going to carry a lot of ownership starting this deep. But the problem is he's just really slow this weekend. So I'd rather maybe try to pivot elsewhere, maybe pay down for other folks, maybe get a little bit different or save, some salary for my lineup construction. Stenhouse, qualified right around where his practice times were, so I'm not really too interested there. I like Justin Haley a lot. He starts basically dead last. We obviously know he's going to be able to navigate his way through the field. Top 25, top 20 finish, I think is easily doable for this team. Starting 35th, that'll give you a good amount of place differential upside. Carson Hocevar, the best thing he can do is just have a quiet race and stay out of everyone's way. I mean, you got a lot of heat. A lot of drivers are pissed off across all the different series of how that truck race ended, how it played out there at the end. And that was just a crazy truck race in general. I just can't believe all the craziness, the stuff that happened. And that's the way that we crown our champion. But Hocevar starts 22nd. Probably finishes around there. McDowell probably runs around where he starts. LaJoy and Burton are probably going to be my favorite, punt plays here. LaJoy's probably going to draw a little bit more ownership. The problem with Joy, he's never finished inside the top 20 on these short tracks this year. So just be mindful of that. He starts deep. He looks like he gives you some good place differential upside. He's relatively safe starting this deep, but don't really expect much of him and his team. And honestly, Harrison Burton hasn't been that much better either. His practice times were a little bit faster than LaJoy's, but his finishes aren't really much better than LaJoy's either. So you're just kind of hoping they maintain, get around and get a decent finish. And then from there, Todd Gilliland starts a little bit high, and then all the pump plays here, they're basically only going to work out for you if we see something which happened in the truck race where we get a lot of wrecks. They're able to take advantage and get, 25th, 28th, finish, something like that, which is possible. But I expect this race to go more green than that truck race did, obviously. And the Xfinity race was relatively green there. I know we had that overtime finish, but that one was relatively green. So that'll do it for the Fast Cars, Fast Money 2023 DFS season. Again, thank you guys for all the support this year. Not really sure what I'm going to be doing next year. Probably spend some time thinking about it on the off season, put out a tweet or a video, going over what those details will look like. But yeah, hopefully you guys end the season strong. Any questions, need anything, let me know. I'll post the spreadsheet up on Twitter. And thank you guys again and good luck today.